While cheat codes won't fix bad graphics, poor storylines, or unresponsive controls, they can help rescue games from developers' oversights, and in some cases, introduce entirely new, superior ways to play. You may not be playing some of these exactly like their designers intended, but if you're having fun anyway, then what's the harm? SimCity 2000. You know what's not fun? Taxes. You know what you have to deal with in a normal game of SimCity 2000? Taxes. In a standard round, the way you make money, which you need to build pretty much anything in the game, is by taxing the population of your city. If the taxes are too high, existing citizens complain and nobody new will move in. If they're too low, you'll quickly run out of cash, making it impossible to build the city of your dreams. Given that the fun part of SimCity is building wild, impossible urban landscapes and not balancing your checkbook, just skip the whole thing. In the PC version of SimCity 2000, if you type "I'm a cheat" at any point during the game, a mysterious benefactor will deposit $500,000 into your bank account, and sometimes it would cause disasters. Don't feel too bad about cheating. It isn't like you weren't going to unleash an earthquake or an alien invasion on your budding metropolis at some point anyway. Castlevania 2: Simon's Quest. In most games, cheating is an option. Every once in a while, it's a necessity. Just look at Castlevania 2: Simon's Quest, which features one of the worst Japanese to English translations in video game history. For some games, butchered text isn't a problem. In a game like Simon's Quest, which relies on subtle cues to guide players towards objectives, it's a disaster. As a result, if you want to beat Castlevania 2, you have two options. Either you can wander through the map trying everything possible on every square until you luck into the right solution, or you can pull up a walkthrough, which will explain that the clue "hit Deborah Cliff with your head to make a hole" means you need to hold a red crystal while kneeling on a rock to summon a tornado. Yes, that's cheating, but given the situation, nobody's gonna hold it against you. Turok Dinosaur Hunter. Turok came out a few months before GoldenEye 007 and was an important part of the early generation of first-person shooters. But these days, the blocky graphics, awkward platforming sections, and the mist that obscures everything farther than a few feet away makes for a rough gaming experience. And while the original game hasn't aged well, it's still fun. If you don't know why, we've got two words for you: disco mode. Going to Turok's cheats menu and entering SNFFRR fills the game's prehistoric world with flashing lights and transforms its enemies into guests at a worldwide rave. Because, you know, what's better than battling cybernetically enhanced dinosaurs? Dancing with cybernetically enhanced dinosaurs. If your Nintendo 64 doesn't work anymore, the 2015 remaster includes both disco mode and a level editor, meaning that you can still cheat your way into the dino dance club of your dreams. Battletoads. The game is infamously hard, but for the most part, it's the fun kind of hard, until you get to the game's racing sections. In order to traverse the underground turbo tunnel, players have to navigate a high-speed race on a hovercraft that requires split-second timing in order to dodge the tunnel's many obstacles. If Battletoads were a modern game with permanent saves and checkpoints, that would be fine. But Battletoads is a retro Nintendo title, and like most games from that era, once you run out of lives, it's game over. Which brings us to the cheat. If you hold down A and B while you hit start on Battletoads Continue screen, you'll resume with a few extra lives, giving you some extra chances to get things right. Or if you really want, you can just skip the hardest part of the turbo tunnel entirely. Hit the 10th gate in the 5th and final section of the level and you'll warp straight to level 5, where you'll still probably lose a few lives. Ouch. Even with cheats, this game is tough. Ikari Warriors. In arcades, harsh difficulty curves were used to gobble up as many quarters as possible.
No, I hate this overpriced.
That's not necessarily for home releases, since the developers already have your money. But Ikari Warriors wasn't softened at all for home release, and it's still one of the most relentlessly difficult games ever made. Thankfully, there's a solution if, after wasting your measly 3 lives, you want to pick up where you left off. In the gap between the game over and title screens, enter ABBA, and you'll pick up right where you left off. Continues don't stop Ikari Warriors' brutal action scenes from feeling like a meat grinder, but unless you want to throw your controller through your television screen, it's pretty much the only way to play. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The bulk of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on NES is hard enough. The second half of the second level, in which the turtles have 2 minutes and 28 seconds to disarm 8 underwater time bombs, is near impossible.
Remember, we're turtles! We're at home under the water! Just keep telling me that!
Enter the Game Genie.
It ain't over till we say it's over!
Excellent!
While you could spend your time trying to master the level, it's easier to use the Game Genie to plow through the underwater hellscape. Entering a code on the Game Genie's launch screen renders the level's radioactive seaweed absolutely harmless. That makes the swimming challenge a lot easier to navigate, and you should be able to disarm the bombs and finally see what lies beyond the Hudson River. Alternatively, just play the superior Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, the arcade game, which has just as many mutants, but is also a fun, beatable game. Thanks for watching. Click the SVG icon to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Plus, check out all this cool stuff we know you'll love too.